Good morning, everybody. How y'all doing today? Wonderful day out in the neighborhood, isn't it? It's actually getting warm out here finally. It was it actually hit a high of 60 degrees yesterday. I was like, "Oh, finally. Cool enough out that we could set the uh windows all open and not have to worry about air conditioning running or anything else, and warm enough that again didn't have to worry about running air conditioning or anything else. It was a wonderful day. And it looks like today is going to be the same way. Oh, finally got our water back on Saturday afternoon. That was a nightmare in and of itself. I mean, it, going 4 days with no water is just a royal pain in the butt. Um, but it's over and done with. Life is back to normal. Doctor's appointments lining up. Uh, now remember Wednesday morning. Well, I normally don't stream on Wednesdays anyway, so that's good because I won't even be home Wednesday. As soon as I get off work Tuesday morning, I'm not even coming home. I'm leaving straight from there. Be back Wednesday evening, but that's the way that goes. I hope everybody's had a good weekend. I know, like I said, there's a lot of stuff going on all around the country. Was it North Carolina? Just had a bunch of wildfires this weekend. I mean, I just heard about it this morning. Uh, yeah, the Carolinas. They just can't get a damn break. Um, I hope anybody that lives there is uh, doing okay. I hope nobody was hurt. I don't know much about it other than what, like I said, wildfires across the Carolinas prompting evacuations yesterday. So I just hope that that's taken care of, that people there are taking care of themselves. As most of y'all know, there was a madman with a knife decided to uh, attack people in a Chick-fil-A there in Boston this weekend. Off-duty cop inside the Chick-fil-A told the man to drop the knife. The man did not drop the knife. And I notice I'm saying the man because that's the only descriptor I've seen of him. They haven't released his name yet. They haven't done anything else with him yet. They've just released, a man. Okay. So, we're still waiting for more information on this guy. But cop told him to drop the knife. He refused to. And this was an off-duty cop. So the off-duty cop did what he should have done. He drew his weapon. He fired and dropped the knife man. The knife man, as Rush Limbaugh would describe it, assumed room temperature. That's a good thing. In my book, the man assumed room temperature. And with him assuming room temperature, no one else was injured. Nobody else was having to go to the hospital. Nobody else had to have their family grieve over them dying or being near death. Nobody's lost a husband, a father, a son, a brother. Nobody else lost a wife, a daughter, a sister. Just as one lone character died in the commission of, or the attempted commission of a felony. Run around chasing people down with a knife. But the Boston mayor, when she's interviewed about it, you would think that she would be praising the cop for saving lives. You would think that she would be, happy that nobody except the knife man was injured. But that's not what it was. That was not her reaction. Okay? This was her reaction.
My condolences and all of our thoughts are with the family of the individual whose life has been lost.
Now, the only one person had their life lost. That was the knife man. She's offering her sympathy and condolences to the family of the man that was threatening people with a knife.
And I'm also thinking of all the people who were impacted here today in one of the busier parts of the city.
Let's Oh, I'm also thinking about these other people.
You're not even wearing a suit. It's
who were
disrespectful.
impacted.
Who shows up to the White House in a T-shirt and jeans like a garbage person?
What am I getting? Where am I getting this?
Hi guys. Elon, we love your outfit. Very official and respectful. And I love when he gets that chainsaw right next to my head.
Thanks. Donald, what are you doing in my office? You know I'm the president now, right? I'm kidding.
Are you guys hearing this? Is anybody else hearing what's going on?
Awesome. I mean, you got to make a joke, you know. You can really joke. Legalize comedy. Legalize comedy. Come on.
Because I have no idea what screen of mine this is coming from. All right, but let's listen to this again. Come on.
I can.
And you know what? You're also.
Oh, I see what happened.
My condolences and all of our thoughts are with the family of the individual whose life has been lost.
I still can't get over, excuse me, over her offering condolences about the man who was killed, threatening other people with a knife. And she wasn't the only one to do it.
My condolences and all of our thoughts are with the family of the individual
Here she
whose
is doing
life
it
has been
again.
lost.
Our thoughts and prayers.
Uh, my condolences and all of our thoughts are with the family of the individual whose life has been lost.
Our thoughts.
The district attorney. This is the district attorney.
Thoughts and prayers are with the family and friends of the individual who's been lost.
Unfreaking believable. Unfreaking believable. What? The district attorney offering sympathy for the man who was killed. And the reason why he's killed because he was out there running around with a knife threatening other people.
So our condolences go to the individual who was killed tonight.
At least 3 of the, hey, morning, Neil. At least 3 elected officials. And from my understanding, and I'm saying understanding here, my understanding. Okay, we know that Wu there is a Democrat. That was labeled on the Chiron. Okay, so we know she's a Democrat. But we're talking about Boston. So would anybody be surprised, because I would not be, to find out that all 3 of them are Democrats? Offering sympathy to someone, to the family of someone who just died in the commission of a felony. None of them mentioned the cop who's sitting there off duty enjoying a chicken sandwich and fries, maybe with his family, maybe by himself, but maybe with his family, having to draw his firearm and kill someone. Hey, morning, Data. He's not there in uniform in the mindset that he's going to have to draw his firearm and shoot someone. He's there relaxing, enjoying one of their Chick-fil-A's great chicken sandwiches, maybe some of their great waffle fries. Or maybe he was enjoying one of their key lime shakes that they've got out this month. And my wife will be, and I will be having tomorrow night when the wife brings me one home. No word about him. Nothing about him. And he was taken to the hospital for evaluation. I believe he was released that same night. So these cops, they don't offer anything. The mayor doesn't offer any concern for him. The district attorney doesn't offer any concern for him. The only thing they're offering, any concern about is the family of the man who was out there committing the crimes. Absolutely, totally ridiculous. So, whoa, turn that volume up the wrong way and almost killed my own eardrums. So let's just keep this in mind when we vote for Democrats. When we vote for people, who do they, like I said, as of 20 minutes ago, 30 minutes ago, I could not find any articles stating who this character was. Chick-fil-A is my second favorite place to go for chicken sandwich. Popeyes, of course, is my favorite place to go for a chicken sandwich. I've yet to be disappointed in a sandwich from Popeyes, in any of their chicken products. I especially love their chicken wings. I always wait for them to go on sale, and when I get them, because they're so much. They they are expensive, but then chicken wings are expensive anymore. But their chicken wings are so good, and get the I think it's the sweet and spicy sauce is what they call it, and it is absolutely delicious. Absolutely delicious. Oh, I need to check to see if I'm do a syringe change. Nope, not yet. Almost getting there. About another 5 minutes, and I have to change out syringes. Popeye seems to have to stop changing their fry oil, so it went from great to crap. Huh. That's not good to hear. All right, so let's see here. What's the next? The Democrats need to take stock, and the media. They need, especially CNN and MSNBC. They need to take a step back, and look at the way that they talk about Trump. You can disagree with them. I disagreed with Obama. I disagreed with Biden. Okay, you can disagree. You can disagree with somebody politically without making them a threat to the nation, the existential threat. They're shredding the Constitution. They're, going to be a dictator for life. Because there's people out there that take those kind of comments rather serious. And when they do, they turn around and they do stupid things. Man upset with Trump and Musk threatened to burn down XAI facility. Man in Tennessee has been accused of saying he was going to burn down the XAI facility in Memphis. The Ashland City Police Department said an officer received a call on February 19th from a person who wanted to report concerning comments that their friend had made. 25-year-old Ethan Paul Early was upset over Elon Musk and President Donald Trump. Caller said he's also going to burn down one of Musk's data centers using thermite. The suspect said they said the suspect had already began purchasing material to make the thermite online. In the affidavit, the caller said they're able to convince Early not to go through with it, and he threw away the material to make the thermite. After the police responded to Early's home, they questioned him about the statements. Police said he admitted to making the statements of burning down to a few people and was upset with Musk and Trump. Early also admitted to researching how to make thermite and that he was thinking of using it on the AI facility in Memphis that Musk owns. The 25-year-old also told officers he began buying ingredients including iron oxide and aluminum powder. According to the affidavit, Early said he gotten too wrapped up in politics and gone too far down the deep end. He was arrested on the 20th and charged with an act of terrorism and bail set at $500,000. He's expected in court on March 12th. Yeah, Neil, you're right. This man is now permanently on watch list. He is going to have people staring at him. He's not going to be able to ever fly on an airplane. He's going to lose his Second Amendment rights. His Fourth Amendment rights will be curtailed forever. Until they can reasonably determine him to never again be another threat. Hey, morning, Ramen. Wendy's the bird, or I'm assuming early bird. They have I'm looking at my keyboard trying to decipher what you're saying. Yeah, it's a gooey morning, that's for certain. It's definitely a gooey morning. She became Swedish when she got her new nails put on. And see, that's one of the reasons why I'm sitting there and looking at these women with these super long nails and not only wondering how they managed to do their job, because that's questionable to start with. Because even these people who work remote from their home doing customer service stuff, they still have to type into a keyboard of some sort because they've got to pull up the person's account numbers and that kind of stuff. But the other, but how do they cook a meal? Now, I've seen some of these women try to eat. I've seen videos of these women eating, and I'm like, okay, that is absolutely way too much grief and aggravation. And then, of course, there's always the personal hygiene issues. Do they have the wand, the curved wand that they wrap the toilet paper around? I've seen some a tool used by very obese people to take care of issues. But I hope they never get a skin infection or a skin condition that is causes itching or anything like that, because they would never get that's when I started trimming my nails below my skin all the way down to the cuticle, because I was I was actually cutting through my skin because of the scratching. I'd do it at night when I was half asleep or three-fourths asleep and not realize what I'm doing. That's always fun. And they don't have to ever wear gloves, because you couldn't get gloves over those fingernails. Three inch nails and 10-inch heels. Yep. Oh, no, thank you. Just the thought. Hey, morning, Digi. Just the thought of having to see Shanny like that's enough to disgust you. But back to this other story. Remember how the press and the left went after uh oh man, what was her name from Alaska? Claimed that she was the reason the woman in Arizona got shot. When we can start voting for 3-day weekends? Actually, I know several places you can work 4-10s. I actually had a job where I worked 3 12s, off 3 days, then worked 3 more 12s. And it worked out pretty nicely. Worked 6 to 6. And then be off for 3 days, then work 6 to 6 again. That wasn't bad. The only time I hate is when all 3 days went over the weekend. But the rest of the time, I had no problem with it. So 67 hours and 6 days. Yeah. Neil, I'm not going to argue that point with you. Like I'm off Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Or Sunday, I'm off Sunday and Monday. Then I'm off Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And that Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday just don't seem long enough, even. It seems like I get less done on those 3 days than I do any other day of any other time. And like I've told Ramen, it seems that since I'm only cut my working days down to 2 days a week, I've got less time to get on the computer. I don't understand why. It just makes no sense. Yeah, Data, doing oh, who did what company was it? Domino's? Was it Domino's that said they're getting rid of all their drivers? They're going to be using Uber Eats and DoorDash exclusively. No, it's Pizza Hut. I'm sorry. It was Pizza Hut, not Domino's. Pizza Hut's getting rid of all their drivers, and they're going to be using DoorDash and Uber Eats exclusively. The wife and I, when we saw that, it was like, okay. Every now and again, change things up. We would order from Pizza Hut. There is no way I would do that anymore. And on the rare occasions we order from Papa John's, I always ask, who's doing the deliveries? Are they your employees, or are you using DoorDash third party? And when they said we got our own driver doing it, it's like, okay, fine, I'll complete the order. But if they say it's DoorDash or Uber Eats or somebody else, sorry, no. Not sorry, I'm going to order my pizza from somewhere else then. But yeah, we just like to. Okay, just waiting on your avatar to pop up there, Ramen. You don't have an avatar right now. There we go. Good morning, young lady. I can hear me on Echo. Can't hear you. To make complicated orders to have them gone wrong and get the food out comped. The one time I ordered when I was at work, and I ordered dinner to be delivered, and it was Papa John's. The woman showed up, and this was during COVID. Ramen, we can hear water or something running. Ramen. I can hear you unwrapping something. Ramen. Are you running bath water? Yeah, I'm not getting any voice either from her there, Data. But anyway, we got. Oh man, now I'm getting feedback from her mic. I'm going to mute her for a few because I can't listen to myself. She's having mic problems. I thought she said she was getting a new mic in. She's trying. But anyway, she showed up with my pizza or my delivery and sat it down, went over and opened it up, opened up the packaging because I'd ordered sandwiches instead of a pizza. And inside the bag was a pair of nasty gray sweats. And I went out and chased her car down. She was just leaving the drive. She was almost ready to pull out onto the road. And she finally gave me back I finally got my food from her. I opened up that bag and there was bites taken out of my sandwich. Well, let me unmute you and see if we can get your mic, if you got your mic straightened out there, Ramen. And I called him to try to get, hey, can you send me more food out or, at least refund my money? And they told me I had to go back through the DoorDash, and DoorDash refused to do it. It was just nasty problems all over the place. Yeah, Ramen, I'm hearing myself, and I think everybody else is hearing me. Yeah, I definitely had that echo going. So I mean, I won't order from anybody using DoorDash anymore. Neil, I'm not going to agree with you on that. Yeah, Ramen, you may have to reboot your computer. Test 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I'm still getting the feedback. Still hearing myself through your mic. All right, we all know that Zelensky got kicked out of Washington, D.C. last week. The press has really made a big deal of that. And I know I'm going to mispronounce this guy's name, and I really don't care. Keir Starmer from the UK said he is ready to put British boots on the ground to maintain the peace if the deal is done to end the war in Ukraine. The Prime Minister said he's working with the French President Macron to come up with a plan to present to Donald Trump aimed at finally ending the 3-year-long conflict. Now, this is after, he had a emergency meeting because of what happened. Yeah, he had a secret meeting with some Democrats too. But here is his big announcement to the world.
Or we will go further to develop a coalition of the willing to defend a deal in Ukraine and to guarantee the peace. Not every nation will feel able to contribute, but that can't mean that we sit back. Instead, those willing will intensify planning now with real urgency. The UK is prepared to back this with boots on the ground and planes in the air, together with others. Europe must do the heavy lifting.
Europe must do the heavy lifting. Coalition of the willing. Those who are willing to put people on the ground. The problem we've got here, there, sir, is all of the EU's military combined, and this is my personal opinion, isn't worth half of the US's military. You guys have depended upon the United States to defend you for so long, which is why you've had money to put into your healthcare systems and everything else, that without the United States, y'all ain't worth spit. Now, I've known British military. I've known Canadian. I've worked, and when I say known, I mean I've worked with. I've worked with Belgique. I've worked with from the Netherlands. I mean no disrespect to the individuals serving in the military for these countries. They're doing the best they can. These are mostly proud patriots. And they're okay, Rob. We'll have to mute you again because I can't be listening to myself. But once again, you guys are not worth, you guys can't hold even as a group. There, and another problem with this is if you guys go and put British, French, and let's say Italian troops on the ground in Ukraine, Russia will take that as an attack by NATO. Not by you guys as individual countries, but by NATO. And that puts us at risk. And then there's that infamous article, NATO treaty, I believe it's Article 5, that states that if any NATO countries attack this, as if all were attacked. But you guys are the ones doing the attacking. Zelensky is a dictator. He's there right now just doing what he can do to make himself personally wealthy. He came here and showed all kinds of disrespect to Trump and JD. And the press, of course, ate that up and couldn't stand it when he got called out. And he was rightfully called out. JD did a wonderful job. And the dinner that was planned, well, I believe that the press was allowed to eat the dinner. So you guys, you're going to do what you can do to try to get us involved, whether we want to be or not. There, Starmer. And half of your own people don't want you to be involved. The other half, which are mostly the foreigners, want to see you involved because they're the ones that's not going to have to go fight. So they're going to kill, the people killed off are mostly going to be the native-born British. Fewer of the native-born British and more of the foreigners, the Muslims involved. You've already lost London to the Muslims. You'll lose the rest of your country to the Muslims. That is not a good plan to go there, Kara. Not a good plan at all. Trump is trying to work a way for a peace deal. He's trying to find a way, work the way through so that the war is ended without U.S. or European troops being on the line. Now, supposedly, Zelensky is saying he is still willing to sign the deal that was being offered to him last week. But Russia is also offering pretty close to the same deal. And somebody made me think this weekend. I'm 65. My entire life, Russia's been the great enemy. The USSR. I grew up with it being the USSR. When you said Russia, you meant the USSR. This is before the fall, before the border wall came down in Berlin. And ever since the breakup of Russia, USSR, I've still thought of Russia in the old way. Being the big bad boogeyman. I've never changed my thoughts about them until I had it challenged over the weekend. Because I've always thought of Russia being the same way. I have always thought of them the same way. Even after Russia fell apart. And Russia, USSR fell a couple of decades ago, 1989. It collapsed with dramatic speed in the last quarter of 1991. 10 republics succeeded from the Union. Oh, well, let's see here. That's 30 some years ago. They're not, are they our friends? No. But why not? Who's really our biggest international threat at this time? Is it really Russia or is it China? Who is our biggest threat right now? Of that, I really couldn't answer you because my mindset has, for my entire life, has been Russia's the biggest threat, the USSR. But like I said, I've had that challenge this weekend. Somebody asked me, why is Russia still my threat, such a threat? And everything I could come up with was back when it was the USSR. Now, I'm not saying I like Putin or what he does. And the person that was questioning me about that, he was not saying that Putin was some great guy. Excuse me. But what he was saying is China is probably a bigger threat to the United States than Russia is. China's got a stranglehold on all of our electronics industry, for example. We don't produce squat in this country compared to what China produces for our electronics industry. Everything from your electric razors to your cars, to your televisions, your radios, your cell phones, all of it. All made in China, or the chips are made in China and then shipped out to the rest of the world. That's where the true threats are. And again, if everything, and when I'm saying something to you guys, I always say this: if everything that I've read, heard, discussed, whatever is true, then I've got to shake my own way of thinking about things, which is never pleasant to have to do. Especially when, these are thoughts that you've held for decades. That, China is a bigger threat to us. and that Russia is not near even the military threat. So we've got that. Well, Data, you're right. People want to make a profit, and China is able, because of their slave labor, to produce things cheaper than we do here in the States. But that's one of the reasons for Trump's tariffs. Start building things here in the United States. Yes, initially they are going to be more expensive. But the prices will go down. The more we build, the bigger the companies get. But Zelensky, back to Zelensky here, he's trying to do what he's supposedly he's trying to get back into Trump's good graces. I just want to see that war over with. I don't like Zelensky, and I don't like Putin. I don't like either one of them. And there's nothing wrong with saying let the two bad guys sit there and punch each other's lights out, and let us just stay out of it and quit costing us money. Who am I going to make mad here yet? Oh, yeah, I meant to show this video. This guy. I'll let him speak for himself.
I don't give a fuck what he wears. This man has been respectful to every leader in the
He's crying. This guy is actually sobbing.
world. Everybody. And you clowns want to fucking do that shit to him when he comes over here. And then talk to him like shit and kick him out of the White House. You fucking disgraceful son of a bitches.
Old crocodile tears.
I just want to be next to Zelensky right now.
You want to give him a big old hug? Well, that
I wish I could talk to him. Forgive us. God damn, man. I can't. Sorry, y'all. I can't believe what I just witnessed in our White House.
People like that, there is a way they can voluntarily go to the Ukraine and join the battle if they want. They can put themselves in there as boots on the ground. They don't have to wait for the U.S. to join the battle. They can go and do it. Just like there were, almost every war the United States has ever been involved with, there have been Americans who were out there fighting the war before the United States ever got involved. So, dude, go put on your boots, put on your coat, put on your yellow and blue uh, tie or hat or whatever. Your I love Ukraine. I love Zelensky uh, buttons, and go to the Ukraine. They are grabbing people off the streets, grabbing men, not people, but men, not just people. They're only grabbing men off the streets and conscripting them into the military. That's how badly they need people, need fighting men. So if you really want to go out there and feel so badly, go join their war. Go. Nobody's stopping you. Get your passport and go. Nah, come on, Data. Neither country's been around that long. If you wanted to say 100 years, okay, I could. That'd still be a bit of an exaggeration, but still. You swore, yep. Or or you're aware. Okay. Christy Nome is getting requests by secretaries of state. And I love this. I'll read you the letter here. But a letter addressed to the Homeland Security Secretary Christy Nome last Thursday. 21 secretaries of state asked for improvements to her Departments of Systemic Alien Verification for Entitlements, or SAVE program, so they can more easily detect non-citizens who are voting in elections. As President Trump explicitly conveyed, ensuring non-citizens do not vote in our elections is crucial to protecting the integrity of the elections in our respective states. Here, we'll go ahead to the letter itself. And you can see here, we got Alabama, Arkansas. Let's see here, Secretary of State. There's Georgia, Idaho, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Mississippi, Missouri. All right. Montana, Nebraska, New Hampshire, Ohio. Yes, Ohio. I was hoping Oklahoma, Dakota. I'm surprised Florida's not up there, to be honest. Tennessee, Utah, Wyoming, and West Virginia. Those states all signed this letter. February 27th. Dear Secretary Nome, congratulations on your recent appointment and confirmation as Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security. Da 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 da. As you embark on this important task, we respectfully ask you to focus on another issue critical to our future: elections. Tasking the United States Citizenship and Immigration Services, a component of DHS, with prioritizing needed improvements to the SAVE program would help us better detect non-citizens attempting to register and or vote in our elections? Well, first of all, if we did not allow non-citizens, particularly illegals, to get driver's license, that would vastly reduce the number of non-citizens, particularly illegals, from getting registered to vote. Because remember, under Bill Clinton, when you went and got your driver's license, you got registered to vote. That you no longer had to go to City Hall or go to the elections board, election supervisor's office to register to vote. You went to DMV and they just, and you got registered. Part of getting your driver's license was registering you to vote. So let's stop that. Let's get it back to having to go to City Hall or having to go to the elections supervisor's office to register to vote. As President Trump explicitly conveyed, ensuring non-citizens do not vote is crucial to protecting the integrity of elections in our respective states. However, to vigorously and successfully assume this charge, improvements in addressing how current limitations within the programs are vital. In an effort to provide clarity, we have accumulated some specific enhancements which will address the current challenges, including but not limited to data limitations, accessibility and accuracy, and financial shortcomings. The ability to search multiple voters at once. States must currently enter each person individually for review into the SAVE program to verify citizen status. This causes significant delays and overly burdensome staff time while attempting to identify the citizenship of potential voters. By allowing multiple individuals to be searched at once, states can more efficiently identify non-citizens who are registering or attempting to register. All right, that makes sense. Increase the quantity of identifying information users may utilize. Users must now have unique identifiers such as alien identification numbers, naturalization numbers, or other similar DHS numbers to a certain citizenship status. Yet these numbers do not generally come through the offices of election officials while conducting regular business. Alternatively, during the voter registration program, election officials come into possession of numerous unique identifiers such as date of birth, social security number, and driver's license number. How are they getting a social security number if they're in the country illegally? Well, okay, but legal immigrants, all right, legal non-citizens, okay. When coupled with names of individuals allowing these unique identifiers, when election officials are possessed, would allow election officials. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, that makes sense. To allow social security numbers and date of birth and driver's license number. But once again, that driver's license number, unless the individual states identify the the driver's license as belonging to someone who is not a citizen. Different colors, non-citizen stamped across it, something like that. Which, good luck getting California or New Jersey or Colorado, New York to do that. Yeah, I read that data. allowing states to use SAVE at no cost. SAVE requires both a user fee and a recently increased per search fee, considering election officials. Why do they charge the state to use this? These are taxpayer funded to start with. Any program that the federal government has is paid for by taxpayer dollars. So why are they charging the states to use it? That makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. Why would they charge? Because it's paid for by tax dollars. The states are giving it tax dollars. So that means the taxpayer is paying for this program twice. We're paying it through federal taxes. Then we're turning around and also paying it through our state taxes. That's absolutely nonsensical. Provide clear guidance on how and when state officials may use the SAVE. Some courts have restricted states from implementing usage of the SAVE system based on conflicting guidance from implication. Clearly defining the usage parameters and implementation requirements of the system will allow more states to actively protect. Again, it sounds like there's some stupidity here on the part of the SAVE people of the federal government. It really seems like there's some clear stupidity there. And again, that makes no sense. Why would they have that is put together so the states can tell who is and is not an American citizen? So why would they have restrictions on use? If the states need to know whether or not an individual is a citizen, they need to know whether or not there's that person is a citizen. Notify states of applicants for naturalization. It would be helpful to know those who have marked yes on U.S. form, have you ever registered to vote or vote in any federal, state, or local election? Well, being in some states and some cities allow non-citizens to vote in their elections. I know, I've railed about that before. But these are mostly liberal towns, liberal cities, liberal states that use they live here, so they should have a say. We don't care whether or not they're citizens, they still live here. So they should be able to have a say as to whether or not and how things need to be done, which most of us believe is pure nonsense. If you're not a citizen, you should not have a say. Well, they pay taxes, so I don't care. They're not a citizen. If they wanted to have a say in how our governments are run, then let them become citizens. And I'm even willing to say that they need to become, not only do they need to become citizens, they cannot be dual citizens. But, again, that's just me and my own hard ass opinion. If you want to vote in our country, you have to become a citizen, and you can't be a citizen of another country. Because if you're a citizen of another country, how do we know that by voting in our elections, that you're voting in the interest of our country, or if you're voting in the interest of another country? Much like, certain members of Congress that have leaders from other countries come here and say that such and such a person needs to be reelected to Congress because they're here to represent the needs of this other country, such as Somalia. And of course, they're giving this speech in another language. You're not giving this speech in English. They're giving it so that, that it's being given in another language. And then, of course, that individual from that other country that, was granted citizenship here in the United States, she has outright admitted that when she votes in Congress, she's voting for what's best for her home country that she and her mother escaped from when she was a little itty bitty girl. All right. Through the implications of these enhancements, pick up my mouse here. It fell on the ground. Come on, get the cable. Thank you. Through implementation of these enhancements, state officials may better serve the entire country. Disallowing interference from non-citizens in elections is a process fundamental to the role we must not only assume but champion. We are hopeful through your support, significant advancements can be made to further protect the integrity of our state and federal elections. Thank you for your time and attention. We look forward to working with you on behalf of all American citizens. Yes, and see, the key word there is citizens. Then, of course, here's the signatures of all these Secretary of States. Which is a wonderful thing. Wonderful thing to see. I love it. I'm just sad it's only 21. There should be 50 signatures on there. Should be. But that's not going to happen. So stop sharing that screen. I have yet to have anybody come up with the reason to me and actually express a reason to me that I find acceptable, that I find reasonable as to why a non-citizen should be allowed to vote even in a local election. I haven't even found a reason why a non-citizen should be counted in a census towards apportionment for elected officials. Count them, yes, because they're living in the country, but they don't count when it comes to representation in Congress. They don't count when it comes to votes for the presidency. Only U.S. citizens count. If you're not a citizen, you don't count. That's all there is to it. Yeah, there's if I would love to have somebody come up with the reason a, that actually makes sense. Because when you've got a guest in your house, I don't care how good of a friend this person is, they're still a guest. And you're trying to come up with your family budget. Do you allow that guest to have a vote on what's going on in the family budget? Especially if this is a guest that just moved in without you even asking them to move in or giving them permission to move in. They just walked in the door, threw a sleeping bag down on the floor, and said, "Guess what? I'm staying here." And you had no way of, you know, your wife said, "Yeah, they can stay," and you couldn't, and because your wife said they could stay, you couldn't call the police to have them removed, even though you really and truly wanted to. The wife is saying they can stay. Or in Rahman's case, the ex-husband said they could stay. As I've said before, I've got, you know, do I have sympathy for people living in countries that aren't the United States, that aren't up Western world standards? Yes, I do have sympathy for them. But we as a country cannot bring them all into our country. We can't, then we will be no better than them because they don't come here with a love for America or the United States. They don't come here with a love for the United States. They come here to escape whatever living conditions they have from whatever country they're from, to make money and send back to their family still living there. And they try to make this country into their country. They don't come here waving the American flag. They come here waving the Peruvian flag, the Venezuelan flag, the Mexican flag, the Honduran flag, the Guatemalan flag, the Vietnamese flag, the Ghanese flag, the Indian flag, the Pakistani flag. They're not coming here to wave the American flag. They're not coming here to wave Old Glory. The only thing they want from us is money, much like Zelensky. Zelensky's got no use for us other than our money. That disrespectful little snot actor comedian has got no respect for our country. He's got no love for our country. All he sees us is a giant bank that he can personally enrich himself from. And that's the way most of the non-citizens who have moved here look at us, and all the illegals. There's a restaurant. I was watching news this weekend. ICE went in and arrested the mother and father. They've been in the country 25 years. Their visas expired years ago. But they've owned a family-owned restaurant. And everybody's sad and heartbroken, and how mean the United States is for arresting this couple, this semi-elderly couple, for being in the country illegally. Well, they were working with the lawyer to get legal again. Well, they should have been working with that lawyer from out of country while they were out of the country. Well, they separated them from their loving family. Anybody who is a criminal and is arrested is separated from their loving family. If I were to break the law and I were to get arrested, I would be separated from my loving family. If my wife were to get arrested for some stupid reason, she would be getting separated from her loving family. We separate people from their loving families every day because we arrest people every day. I've got no sympathy. Just because you're here illegally, you've managed, because of Obama and because of Biden, you've managed to escape being caught being here illegally. That's not our problem. Count yourself lucky you were able to stay here as long as you were. But you see, there's been so many illegals brought into this country that, and so many of them have committed heinous crimes, that every illegal is being painted with that same brush, being looked at the same way. What kind of crime are you going to commit today? Yeah, oh, my wife is a saint, Neil. You're absolutely right. My wife is a saint. Except for the fact she likes to drive a little fast. When we had to go to Tallahassee for my MRI, she had to drive because I was going to be doped up on the way, as a result of all the Xanax I had to take for the drive back. And as I said, I warned her about several areas where the speed limits, where cops like to sit because the speed limits drop very quickly. If there'd been more than one cop sitting there, she would have gotten pulled over. I'll guarantee it. She just got lucky that there was a cop and that there was a guy in front of us who was driving faster than she was. She don't pay attention to speed limits very often, very well. I love her to death, but her driving scares me. She's gotten more speeding tickets than I have in the 30 years we've been married. She's gotten two. I haven't gotten any tickets since we've been married. My only ticket was years before I even met her. So Anyway, that's about all I've got for today. I thought I'd spend more time on a couple of things than what I did, particularly paying. You're right. She's got stuff to do. Particularly paying attention to the Democrats there in Boston cheering. Oh, I'm so sorry that your knife welding psychopath was killed by a cop defending all the innocent people that he was waving his knife at. Mayor Wu and the DA, you got, and whoever else was there getting on the microphone in front of the cameras, expressing your deepest sympathy to the families about that guy being shot by the cops. Y'all are crazy. Y'all are absolutely crazy. You should you should have been praising that cop first and foremost for protecting the citizens of Boston from a crazed man with a knife. That's what you should have been doing, not expressing sympathy to his family. But anyway, so let's see. Let me look at my calendar real quick because my calendar is my memory. What do I got going on tomorrow? Come on, open up for tomorrow. All right, I got nothing going on tomorrow morning, so I will be back tomorrow morning. Good Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. Until then, everybody, be with the ones you love the ones that you're with. And Ramen, please, I hope you get your computer fixed to where you can be with me tomorrow. All right. Anyway, y'all have a good one. Enjoy, and we'll be back later on.